improvement demonstration titled Rules-Based Approval Routing and Workflow. In this 30-minute presentation, my colleague Mike Markowitz will demonstrate what's at the heart of all of ISS Group's business process improvement solutions, specifically advanced approval routing technology. He will share with you a look into ISS Group's approval routing engine and approval simulation. He will demonstrate how to process and route a form throughout an organization, such as a purchase order requisition, for the purpose of review, revision, and approval or rejection of a process form in order to perform an action upon final approval, such as creating a purchase order, creating a sales order, authorizing a payment, updating data within a master table, etc. We'll show you just how this is accomplished in this short 30-minute session. Should you like to see our solutions in more detail, please contact us directly or visit our website at www.issgroup.net. With that, I'll pass over the controls to Mike to begin the presentation. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Kelly, for the introduction. Today I'm going to show you our approval routing and workflow. So we're going to stay within one of our products called iPurchase. So let's begin the demonstration. To start with, this is the login page for iPurchase. We're going to just log in so we can get going on the approval routing system. We're going to log in, and what we're going to do right now is we are going to create a requisition. So I'm going to click New Rec here, and I'm going to put in a supplier. You'll notice you can add your ship to, your bill to, your site, your currency, ship file, the buyer, the need date, let's say, what type of requisition it is. I'm going to make this a consulting services requisition. I'm going to click Save. Okay, now I'm going to add a new item. Dash. I'm going to make it a power cord here, and I'm going to make a quantity of 100, and I'm going to make it $10 each. I'm going to save and close it, and now you'll notice that I have a line item on my requisition for $1,000. So now we're going to start talking about approval routing. So the system comes with an approval routing engine, which allows you to create rules for approvers based on different criteria within iPurchase or any of our products for that matter. This is the same approval routing engine that is also in iApprove, and iQuote, and iRFQ. So as you can see, when we get to this approval history tab, there's an approval simulation because we still have not submitted this requisition. And you'll notice there's different levels here, okay? And there's different approvers based on the approval rules that we create, which I will be showing later on in this demonstration. But first I wanted to discuss the different types of approval routing. So for example, there's simultaneous, which means that two people can approve at the same time. That can be done within group approvals, like this level 600 approval. So this says one of these people have to approve for the finance group, either Jim Byrne or Alex Chen. The interesting thing is that you see this little sailboat here, and what that's telling me is that Alex Chen is out of the office and has delegated his approvals to Bill Thomas. So now every time a rec is submitted and Alex has to approve it, Jim will get the email notifying him that he has to approve based on Alex's behalf. There is also sequential approvals, which is what you're seeing here, and you can tell by their different levels. So the sequential, so here's level 100, then there's 500, 600, 900, 910. These approval levels place the approvers in a specific order within this requisition or an iApprove screen or a sales quote. And what happens in the system is Robert will be the first one to get the notification. Once he approves it, then it will go to the legal group, which will be Andy's approval. Now, if I go in and I edit the line item here, and let's say now each one is $100, and I save and close this, what you'll notice that the line item now became 10,000, but now I've added 2 more people to the approval process. So now Frank and Trey. Now what we were talking about before was simultaneous approval routing. So now I've already explained to everyone what a group approval is, but now you have Frank and Trey at the same level. So what this means is that when Robert approves this requisition, Frank and Trey will both be notified that they have to approve the rec next. But they both have to approve it, not like a group where only one person in the group has to approve it. So now you've seen that by creating approval rules based on price changes who was in the approval routing. You can also create an approval rule based on any field in the system also. So for example, if I change the ship via to FedEx Ground and I save it again, what you're going to notice in the approval history tab is now we added a level 40. And again, it's Alex Chen, but he's out of office, so obviously Bill will be the one who has to approve this requisition. Now, as you can tell, I created a rule based on the ship via field, but I can create a rule on any field in the system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the administration of the system, and I'm going to show you how to create approval rules. But before I go there, I'm just going to submit this requisition. So now the rec is submitted, and notifications will now go out, starting with Alex. I'm going to open up the administration section of iPurchase, and I'm going to go to the iPurchase drop-down menu here on the left, and I'm going to click on Simple Approval Rules. So first, let me explain the difference between simple approval rules and a complex approval rules. Now, a simple approval rule allows you to create a rule based on any of these fields in the top, so of this header information. So as you can see, Robert is the approver. He is at sequence 100. So if we go back to our requisition, you can see that Robert is right here in the approval routing. Okay. He has a dollar amount from 0 to $1 million or $10 million. The rec type, though, is consulting services. So this approval rule is actually also firing off of this requisition type on the top right-hand side of the screen. So, and it's also for the total use of the rec. You can actually pick between the total use or the sum of a line item. Now, what this type of approval rule, as I will call them simple approval rules, cannot do is create OR statements. So anything that's on the top of this screen is an AND statement. And what I mean by that is, let's say we decided that the domain also had to be US, in case you have multiple domains. If I change this domain from star to US, this rule would only be accepted if domain and the rec type was consulting services. There are no OR statements in here. So everything in the top, in the approval rule, has to be true in order for this approval rule to be added to a requisition or a sales order or, let's say, a credit memo for an I approve screen, possibly. That all of these have to be, correct in order for the approval rule to be accepted by whatever system you're using in for the person to be added to the routing. As we can see, here's the Trey. Here's the Trey B approval rule, the Trey Benson approval rule, and as you can see, he's right here, line 200. But he wasn't added until the rec was at 10,000 or more. And that's why he was only added after I changed the amount of the line item. There's a secondary approval a way of doing approval rules within iPurchase. I call them approval rules complex. And I'm going to click on them. And now we are in the approval rules complex screen. And the reason this is different is because in this setting, I can actually create OR statements. So let's take a look at some of these approval rules. And you can see now this is header information. So let's go to priority shipping. So this was the priority shipping rule that we used when we changed the ship via field on the requisition that added Alex Chen to level 40. So here is the complex. You can see that he's at approval level 40. He is the approver. It's based on the total header, and his approval amounts are from 0 to, again, I believe it's $10 million or $1 million. And if I hit the conditions, it shows me now that if the ship buyer equals FedEx Ground, it will activate this rule and add Alex to the approval rules process. But what you can see here is I can add OR statements. So let's say I want to add a line. I could also add a secondary and. So maybe I want this to be shipped via and ship to equals US, let's say. So for that, this statement now would say, if I saved it, that not only does the ship via have to equal FedEx Ground, but the ship to would have to equal US. But I can change this. I don't have to make this. I can check both of these and hit group OR. So now what this is saying, I can remove the and if I'd like, or I can remove it. So if I have an OR statement, it could be shipped via equals FedEx Ground, or the ship to can equal US. Let's remove this, and I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go into a different rule here. Oops, not that one. Sorry. I'm going to go into, let's say, I purchased by or condition. I'm going to hit condition. Okay, so here's another rule that has an and statement in it. Okay, again, ship by equals overnight. I can add lines. I can add as many lines as I want, and I can take these two lines, and I can group OR. So let's say for this, I can do the same and as ship to equals US, and then I can do an OR statement. So let's say maybe I want the line department to equal manufacturing, and I can have the user ID equals Frank, let's say. Okay? So now how this rule will read would be, so it could be, this rule will be true if the ship via equals overnight, the ship to equals US, and it's either the line department equals manufacturing or the user ID equals Frank. And user ID means originator. So if the originator equals Frank. So you can see how complicated I can make these rules, group and or. I can make them as long as I want and as complex as I want, or again, as simple as I want, as example of the ship via approval rule. There's only one line in there. That's how simple this can be. So based on the preference the administrator would like to use and or how complicated the rule has to be, will allow the administrator to pick either to use the complex approval rules or the simple approval rules. This isn't actually a 30,000-foot view of how the approval rules run and work within either iPurchase, iApprove, iQuote, or iRFQ. If you would like to, we can get much more detailed about how to create these rules based on your approval rules within your organization. The last thing that I want to show everyone is that even you can actually also do approval rules right from an email. So here is an email that I just got by submitting the approval, the requisition. So as you can see right here on the top of the email, I can view the rec, I can approve the rec, and I can reject the rec. And since this comes to you as an email, you can also complete these actions on a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop. All you need to have is internet access and the availability of the system. So you can actually do an approval from anywhere with internet access. What's also nice about these email notifications that on the bottom it lists all the approvers that have to approve this requisition. It also will tell me who has approved this rec. So as it goes down the line, I will get the status of each one of these approvers. Now, this is a great notification for someone that has to approve based on the person before them, so they know if the requisition has been approved or rejected. You can also reject the rec from an email notification or from just being in the system. If you're an approver on the approval history, you can approve or reject the requisition. When you reject a requisition, though, you have to give an example of why. You have to give a reason to why you rejected the requisition, or any form, sales quote, I approve form that you will be using. If anyone would like a more in-depth look at our approval rule engine, or would just have some more questions about our systems, please do not hesitate to either email or call Andy or Kelly. Kelly was the person who introduced the demonstration today. You can see their emails listed on the screen, or you can just send an email to sales@issgroup.net, and either Kelly or I or Andy will get back to you as soon as possible. I thank you for attending our demonstration today of our approval rules engine, and have a great day.